Well, hello folks, how are you? Hope everybody's doing well. It is Friday, August 19th, 2022, the weekend prior to the ICT mentorship core content being delivered on my personal YouTube channel. Starting next week, August 22nd, 2022, I will begin uploading one video per night. And it's because at that pace, it's intended for you to go through that. Not, I need 16 videos all at one time, because you won't retain it all. Now, before we get into that, I want to remind you that you have already been given a complete model. My private mentorship group have benefited from that very model on this YouTube channel. It has aided them in understanding how to make a model simplified, and they can go in and use the things that they were taught in private mentorship to make another model if this one doesn't really do it for them. But in my opinion, the one that you've been given is the easiest. It's the most visually friendly chart application of my concepts. It's simply looking for a specific thing within a specific time window, and there it is. Now you can beef that up, obviously, and make it a lot more than it is, but you don't really need it. So as a reminder, before you start getting inundated with more content, let me remind you all that the core content was not really mentorship. It was a language that I was sharing with my students in the private group. So that way I could speak to them in a manner where it would be understandable. Now, like anything else, if you're trying to learn an instrument or learn how to read sheet music, it's going to be a little intimidating at first. But understand, simply because you understand how to read sheet music doesn't mean you know how to play the piano. Or, like for me, I can't play guitar. As much as I love it and I have such a respect for those that can do it, I personally, for years have tried, I just can't seem to get it. So understanding that the logic and the concepts that I'm sharing through the core content lessons, they are just me providing a language. Now you're going to have to obviously submit to a lot of learning. If you're going to go through this, understand it's going to take you a lot of time. Do not go into this wanting to make that YouTube model better. All right? So that way we understand each other going in. Many of you have already found consistency and profitability just with what I've taught already. The individuals that have obtained that, my advice honestly would be don't even partake in the viewing or study of the content, because what's going to happen is you're going to look at the things I'm teaching in the core content lessons that were really delivered as early as August 2016 to the private group. But these concepts have been with me since 1996. So they've been around for a long time. Only my one-on-one students were trained with these things. And in 2016, I came out and said I was going to start teaching it. And I opened up a private group, and there it was. I don't sell anymore. Okay, I don't sell education. I don't do those things anymore. Okay, and because there's a lot of individuals all around the world that have been actively trying to sell these videos, and some of them have made a lot of money, that is not necessary anymore. So if you're out there scouring the internet or afraid to buy from some lowlife or dangling ICT mentorship videos, if you join my signal service on Telegram for $50, you save your money. Because a real student of mine wouldn't dangle that in front of you. They would just simply say, here, I can trade. I've learned how to do it. This is my proof. There it is. If there's any enticement using my videos, I'm removing that by doing this. And let me remind you also, I have paid students. Not all of them are in agreement with what I'm about to do. And I'm aware of that. But I've also had to go to the woodshed with them just the other day in the forum, and reminding them that they don't own me and they don't own this intellectual property. This is mine. I can do whatever I want to do with this. And these videos are not mentorship. They are being mentored. They were mentored. Sitting down each and every single day, telling them what the market was likely to do, so that way they can use these concepts properly with my experience and guiding them with where the market was going to go beforehand. That is being mentored. That is not what this is going to be. This is me simply making these videos that are being pirated, sold all over the internet, all over the world, okay, and used as enticements to join low talent signal services. It's probably going to be a ripoff. Not because the concepts that are taught in these videos are unprofitable. It just means that they have been abused. Now, in 2016, when I sat down to produce these videos, and throughout the year of 2017 in August, wrapping up that first round of teaching, none of those videos were given a visual watermark, because my intentions were for those individuals that had no character, they were going to work for me for free. That means they were going to spread it around, share it with their friends and neighbors, put them up in Discord channels, all those types of things. Knowing full well that these lessons are just the language, not the here's what you're supposed to do with it. That part had to come from me. The ongoing teachings, the lessons, sitting down with me, being mentored. And it's much like the parable of the Jade Master. And there's this young guy. He's thinking to himself, I'm doing these menial jobs. I can't really do well. I heard about this old guy on the other side of the mountain, and he's a Jade Master. I'm going to be a Jade Master. That's going to be my profession. And I will be able to live well because that's a profession that'll pay me. So he goes on a long journey, finds his way to the Jade Master's home and knocks on the door. Small man opens the door up and says, "Hey, I want to be a Jade Master." And the old man smiles and says, "Please come in." So they sit down, they start talking to one another. And the young man says, "I want to be a Jade Master." So the old man gets up, walks across the room, opens up a little box on a shelf, reaches in, takes something out, and tells the young man to hold his hand open. He says, "Which hand?" He goes, "Are you right-handed or left-handed?" The young man says, "I'm right-handed." He says, "Open up your right hand." The young man opens up his right hand outstretched, and the old man presses a green stone into his palm and tells him to close his hand around the stone and hold it. Don't put it down. And he sits down and starts talking to him about things that have nothing to do with Jade. Talks to him about things that he did when he was younger, stories that led to wisdom. Talks about things that the old man had to do around his own house and suggested that he would have to do some of those things if he wanted to be trained. So he told him, "Look, here's the broom. I want you to start sweeping up." The young man looked at him strangely, but took the broom from him nonetheless and started sweeping. And about 20-30 minutes goes by, and he says, "Listen, I came here to learn how to be a Jade Master. I didn't come here to sweep your house. I'm not your servant." And the old man says, "Please, give me the broom. Give me the stone. It's time for you to go home. Come back next week." So the young man, a little disoriented and confused, shrugs his shoulders and walks out the door. A week goes by, comes back, knocks on the door again. The old man greets him and says, "Come on in." He goes to the same box, picks up that same green stone, tells him to open up his hand, presses the green stone in his palm, and starts telling him about tree frogs. And right away, the young man says, "Listen, maybe we're not understanding each other. I didn't come here to learn about frogs. I didn't come here to sweep your house or listen to your stories that have nothing to do with becoming a Jade Master." The old man stands up and says, "It's time for you to go. Please, may I have the stone back? Come back next week." The young man looked at him strangely. "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yes, please. It's time for you to go home. Come back next week." So the young man leaves. The following week comes back. Old man invites him in, goes to the same box, takes the green stone out of the box, presses it into his palm, then begins to tell him all the stories about what he had to endure as a young child. And again, almost an hour goes by, and the young man just can't stand it anymore. He says, listen, I need this to work for me. I'm putting everything I have into this. Can you please just teach me about jade? Stop telling me these boring stories. Stop talking to me about things that have nothing to do with becoming a jade master. I want to know how to do this. And I feel like you're abusing my interest. I want to learn how to master jade. I didn't come here to do these things that you're asking me to do. Why are you wasting my time? The young man goes over to the same box, reaches in, takes out something, and the old man tosses him a stone, and the young man catches it in midair. He says, here, hold this piece of jade. The young man feels it in his hand. He says, this isn't jade. And the old man smiles. That story, and many like it, because there's different versions of it. When I first read that, it didn't resonate with me. Why? Because I was a 20-year-old. My first introduction to it was in the Market Wizards book by Jack Swagger. And it's an abbreviated version of it in there. But when I read it, I'm thinking to myself, why'd they even put this in this book? It made no sense to me, because as a young man, I thought like a young man. I wanted this book to talk about the secrets of trading, the very things that was most guarded by the most coveted of all traders. And to be honest with you, there's nearly nothing in those books that he wrote that were transcending. Nothing special in terms of technicals, no entry patterns, no little funny approach to doing anything in the marketplace. It was them sitting down, sharing their experiences, much like the Jade Master was with the young man that was seeking to be a Jade Master himself. Now, over time, I read that book multiple times. After losing and blowing accounts as a young man, it became clear to me the young man had an issue, much like I did, and much like many of you probably do too. And some of you probably already turned this off. But you'll come back to this one. Those of you that have turned it off, and you'll listen to this and it'll make sense to you as well later on. When someone has a skill, you can't come to them with your preconceived notions about how you should be taught. To assume for a moment that you know how you are to be trained and taught implies that you are the educator, you're the master, you're the sensei, you're the guru. So therefore, why are you even looking for someone to teach you? Because you obviously know more than the student would know that seeks the educator. I've had a lot of individuals like this, both female and male, come to me with their ideas about how they should be trained, how they should be taught, when they have neither the patience or the understanding that what I'm teaching takes time. Case in point, my students know and have witnessed, and now you as public witnesses have watched me call the low of the week in the E-mini S&P. Before the FOMC announcement was given out this week on Wednesday, I stated that if I were making the market after FOMC hits the marketplace, that means after all the initial excitement, I would reprice the E-mini S&P market down to 42.50 and as low as 42.20. Nothing more. That's what I tweeted in the lunch hour on Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. That tweet is still on Twitter. There was no alternative view. There was no plan A, plan B. The bias was bearish. I mentioned that there was a swing high that formed on the daily chart. You'll find that on your daily chart on the August 15th, 16th, and 17th. That one single candle that has a lower high to the left of it and a lower high to the right of it. Once that occurred, after it traded up into its buy-side liquidity pool that I've outlined and we were watching for weeks now, It finally traded up above that 43.08. So 43.08 was purged. That liquidity was tapped into, engaged, and a swing high formed. And FOMC came and went on the 17th of August. The following day, on the 18th of August, was a small range day. That set up a large range day. Large range days come after small range days. How do you know when a large range day is coming specifically? Well, you have to understand the market dynamics that you're presently under. The market has been bullish. It's gone up a lot. We called it higher. You watched it and went to a level that I called with the logic and explained it to you in great detail. Once it went to that 43.08, now we wait. Does it create a swing high? It created it. I talked about it on Twitter. I mentioned I'm not interested in being long or buying. Before FOMC came out, I outlined the idea that if I were making the market, now obviously, I've been on vacation. I'm not in some office somewhere. I'm not pushing buttons. I'm not making the market for the S&P. But I stated that if I were in the place of market making for a mini S&P, I would reprice down to 42.20. Nothing more. Bias was bearish. So, if yesterday was a small range day with an up close on its daily chart for E-mini S&P, and I outlined that after FOMC hits the market, 42.50 and 42.20, that being the downside draw for a discount, that means the market's going to draw down there. If the market was not algorithmic, how would I know that the market would go down to 42.20 and nothing lower? Maybe because I am the very person I've always claimed I am. How many times do you need to see this? For some of you, you've seen this dozens of times. There was no other alternative view. The weekly low was 42.20 and 3/4. It printed into the 42.20s, but not everybody can be ICT and print it to 42.20 like I was asking for. So give a little round of applause for the boys up there at the CME. They did a pretty good job of taking it to 42.20 and 3/4. But had I been in the seat, it would have been 42.20 even. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't believe anything I'm saying. And I think secretly they do. They just wrestle with it because that means they have to admit they've been wrong all this time. Oh, but there's so many things I have yet to show. So many proofs. When you see things like this, it's a little alarming how someone could know this in advance. If these markets were really independently driven by what? Supply and demand? No. If they were driven by retail logic and traders buying and selling pressure, how on earth could I, a little old guy from Middle River, Maryland, some demo baller that everyone looks to and says that he's full of shit and lies, how could I step out in front of the entire world again and explain exactly what this financial instrument, the S&P 500 market, a professionally traded, all around the world, institutions are trading this market. How on earth could I read the palms of every retail trader and understand what their buying and selling pressure was going to cause in the marketplace and reverberate all the way down to Friday's close and looking at the low of the week being what? 42.20. Yes. For some of you, that stings like a motherfucker, doesn't it? But I'm not here to beat my chest. I'm not here to say, listen, I'm smarter than everybody else. I'm not smart, folks. I'm just a very, very, very blessed man. My interest is for you to do well, some of the things that I know I cannot teach you because I cannot teach you. One of those things is what you just witnessed again. Now, some of you are going to be pissed off when you hear that. Calm yourself and listen. I want to specifically talk about something to you so that way you understand how I had to create a language, because I'm not supposed to be teaching this to you. But if I create a language, if I create a way of talking and speaking to someone, and you understand that that logic, that language, that way of interpretation is not rebranding of any kind of retail logic. Because there's people out there that will say, supply and demand, Wyckoff, Elliott Wave, Gann. Those things are how the markets work. And I've already shown you that that is a facade. That is a lie. And you'll have people out there say, well, it's all about volume profile and it's about trends. Folks, listen. A trend is highly, highly subjective. Trends, in the study of trends, are highly subjective across the board with all traders. What one person may define as a trend on one specific time frame may not be even considered at all by another trader using the same approach but just using a different time frame. Now, what I've taught you is simply looking at the market from an algorithmic stance. How does the algorithm that delivers price, and for any of you that are still sitting on the fence, questioning, this guy ICT talking about the markets are ran by an algorithm. That's bullshit. Well, where was your guru at this week? Did he call the 42.20 low of the week? There's a lot of folks out there that claim they know how to trade this market. And here's the thing. The things I use and implement, they're not limited to Forex. The logic I'm using that's outside of the chart can be used for any financial instrument. But you're not supposed to know these things, folks. So either you can sit back and take your pop shots from the sidelines and heckle, thinking that you're going to convince me to spill the beans on the things I'm not willing to talk about. I'm not. I can't. But every now and then, I have to show you who I am, where I came from, and what I know. Now, again, I mentioned that some of you are going to get pissed off at that. Why even bring it up? Because there's a lot of people out there claiming that smart money concepts, which is my whole life's work, that's where that term came from, me referring to it as such. Old videos on YouTube. That's not Wyckoff. Wyckoff could have never told you the low of the week for an S&P. Wasn't there. Like I said before, if he was alive, he'd be my student. He'd be subscribed to the YouTube channel. He'd be following me on Twitter. And that sounds arrogant, but it's not. When you really strip it away, peel back all the layers of the onion, because I'm not sweet to everybody. I'm offensive to some of you. And it sounds like arrogance, but literally it's just authority. Some of you have an authority complex. You don't like being spoken to when someone has authority. And I'm speaking from a position of authority. I have something that you can't ever obtain. But the teacher in me is always looking for a way to bridge that gap, both ethically and legally. Because these markets, you don't have a snowball's chance in hell unless you have logic that is rooted in sound, realistic understanding. And if you think for a minute that you're going to draw a trend line, or you're going to have some kind of an indicator on your chart, and that is how these markets are going to bend to your will and the riches that's pour into your account, you are fucking nuts. And that's why retail traders beat their brains in all the time. because they want these things. So they've been told by the books and the teachers and the liars in this industry. Oh, you just got to stick it out. You'll get it. You'll get it. As long as you're pulling up indicators and looking at things that have absolutely no reason why these markets book price the way they do, you're always going to miss the mark. Period. So if you're using anything retail logic, and what I'm teaching is not retail. I've already put it out there. I have $500,000 right now. Again, I've said this before openly. $500,000. You find my concepts in anything else anywhere. Ever. In writing, in video, prior to 1996. $500,000 is yours. I'll even come to where you are and hand deliver it to you. Cashier's check. Not enough money? Okay, $1 million. Not enough? 2 million, 5 million. Folks, it's not out there. This was not out there until I talked about it. And you young guys, oh, he wants people worshiping. No, I just want you to understand what I had to go through to obtain this. You never would have went through. And when you see these kids out on YouTube, because they can't make money trading, they can't prove that what they've done in the past is profitable, and they don't like the meteoric rise of my YouTube channel and the community that I've been blessed with. I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing a whole lot of trolls, and you're going to see new trolls that you've never seen before. Why? Because there's people that don't want me doing what I'm doing. It's obvious. It's obvious. And I used to say this all the time to my private group. You're not supposed to know this. Keep to yourself. Oh, he sounds like a cult. No, it's not a cult. But the language I had to create, that's what I'm sharing with the core content lessons. Now, none of my private group students found profitability with just those videos alone. Now, let me say that again, because I just reminded them of this in the forum. Not one of my private group students ever just watched those videos and walked out into the marketplace and found profitability. You're going to have to take this information and work with it for a while. Study it. And some of the things that you're going to come across in the teachings are going to feel like they don't resonate with you at all. That's fine. But when you go through the entirety of all 12 months of the core content, that means every single lesson, you're going to come across something that really resonates with you. You may not fully understand it. You may feel like, I like this. I think this makes sense a little bit, but I just don't know enough about it. That's fine. Make a note in your journal. Come back to that particular study. And when you're watching these videos, listen, folks, I said this to my original group, and I said this to every group that came in all the way through till last year in 2021. Nobody can join that community. Don't ask me. I'm not putting videos up for them. Okay? I'm not doing any live sessions with them. I'm not calling trades. I'm not even calling the market for them anymore. They are at the stage where they have to take what they've been given and make that applicable for themselves. It's not a hand-holding session in perpetuity. It's a forced out of the nest. This is what you have. What makes sense to you? And you work with that. And then you may want to add more to it with other things that's been taught. But you strip it down to one particular simple model. In my mentorship that was paid, that is a freak show for everything that's available that I can divulge. And taking those things together, not one model uses everything that I teach. So the common misnomer is, I'm going to take ICT's entire core content mentorship lessons, and I'm going to make the Frankenstein of all models. Everything's going to be in the model. And that's not how you do this. In fact, I've watched every single year that I had mentorship groups coming in, there'd be a large group of the young guys and gals come in here, try that very thing. the kitchen sink approach. They try to make everything I've ever taught apply to the marketplace right now. And that's not how I taught it. You just need a concept that allows you to go in at the right time with the right motive, engage, take your pound of flesh from the marketplace, and leave quietly and look for another opportunity. Not right away, but when it makes most sense. And experience is the greatest teacher. You'll learn how to do more. You'll know when to apply more leverage through experience. But you start by going into this prepared to be bored. Because if it's boring to you, that means you're not going to be drug around by your emotions or psychology while you're in the markets looking at price. You're not going to be enticed. Come on. You just learned that thing. You just learned about the BISI and the SIBI. You just learned about consequent encroachment. Come on, let's go out there and push a button. Resist that. Resist that, folks. Here's what's going to happen. There's a lot of you that have found this model that I gave out on YouTube. And it's going across the entire world. I mean, there's lots of people getting funded, a lot of people making real money, and it's proof all over the place that this stuff works. Smart money concepts are not dead. I'm not dead. My stuff's going to live on past me. Trust me when I tell you, books will be written about the experience that you are right here in history living it. You're here. You're listening to the guy right now with breath in his lungs, mental faculty still with me. And I'm telling you, these things are going to be a divider. Everything before this is going to be looked upon as elementary, infantile, redundant. And those things sound arrogant. But again, I simply ask without any ego at all, where have you ever seen anyone show this level of precision, this far in advance, so consistently? Not just in Forex anymore, but I did it in this market. You shouldn't be surprised. I cut my teeth in this market back in the 90s, and the bond market as well. So if Forex crashes because there's a one world currency, one world government, well, you won't have Forex. All the central banks and the digital currencies that they're about to usher in, all that stuff will make multiple currencies all around the world redundant. You'll have one currency. I do believe it's going to be on the blockchain. I do believe it will not be Bitcoin. I've already mentioned this before. But I believe that trading will still be available. And I think as long as that's available, they will use these concepts because this is how they book price. Now, some of you are going to listen to these discussions, these conversations amongst friends, and you're going to be thinking, hey, if this is all becoming mainstream, like the jokers on YouTube like to say, oh, everybody's doing smart money concepts now. No, everybody's using my terms or renaming my concepts, but not really able to do what it is I'm teaching you. How do you know that? Because they can't do what I'm doing. By contrast, they're not even in the same vicinity or neighborhood. Last year in 2021, I watched and I thought to myself, there's a lot of people out there pretending they know how the banks trade. None of you know how the banks trade. None of you do. In fact, people at banks reach out to me all the time and ask me how it is I know what I know. Floor traders, the guys that used to hold their hand out and flash their hands up and back and forth, and here, buy, sell, buy, sell. They're amongst my students as well. And again, the question comes all the time, how the fuck do you know this? Right. Now, I could be up here every fucking day on YouTube, beating my chest like I was when I was 20 years old and thought I owned the entire world. I had insight that nobody else had. And I flaunted it. And it brought the wrong type of attention. I'm aware of what I hold. I'm aware of what I know. And I know what I'm capable of doing with it. And in the wrong hands, obviously. You've seen enough of it with these people that have ripped me off and tried to pretend they've created something new when it's doing the concepts that you're going to see in these videos that were released in 2016 through 2017. And you're going to see suddenly all of these things that these young kids would have never even learned. They haven't even been alive long enough. They've simply just took notes like scribes and said, oh, I'm going to rename this and I'm going to sell courses and take trips to Bora Bora. Not on profits from trading, but repackaging something they had no right to do. So in a way, yes, I am waging war. I warned everyone last year that I said I was going to come out and show everybody where this all came from. And there's people out there trying to make money and ad revenue to pay for things they can't afford, but they're trading through ad revenue. They have mortgage payment to pay, tax liens to pay off still. So they have to do things to try to build themselves up, to fluff themselves up in front of other people because they lack character. They lack skill. And a lot of terrible things have been said about me. Lots of terrible things that aren't even true. Still goes on today. And you're going to see more of that. Because the idea is for you to doubt. The idea is for you to doubt and then consider something else. What I'm going to ask you to do is consider what you've seen. There's a young man from what I gathered is from Ethiopia. Now I get razzed a lot about, I have a lot of students from Africa. You can say what you want to say, but there's one race. It's the human race. When I fill out any legal document that asks me what my race is, I write human. They want me and expect me to write white. I'm not white. I'm not white. But these individuals that are extremely racist, that call upon the fact that I have a lot of students in third world countries that have inclined their ear, have worked very hard to learn the things that I'm teaching with a great deal more adversities than the majority of you listening. And they are finding themselves out of poverty. Can you imagine how wonderful that feels for me as a teacher, as a mentor? That moves me. That type of success, that is impactful. And that's what motivates me. Because you may be living in the lap of luxury in this country. And when I say that, not because you may have the same affluence that I have or could afford myself to have, but you have the benefits of being in this country and the freedoms that we have here and the resources that are made available to us. And you sit on your ass and you do nothing and you make excuses why you're not doing anything with the things I'm teaching. And you want someone to come out there and just prove that I'm a scammer, a fraud. So that way it makes it easier for you to just deal with the fact that you're fucking lazy. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. You're lazy. You want this to be easy, cookie cutter approach. Same thing all the time. Turn it on, doop, money falls in your bank account. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have to work your ass off. And the things you're going to learn, they may cause confusion. Don't let it disrupt your learning. Each video, you journal it. when you get to a part of the video that is a cause for concern, questions that are going to come up. What does he mean by this? Why did he mention this? And why did he mention that? You need to have a notebook for every individual month, because you're going to have a lot of questions that are come up. And then when you go through new lessons, those questions, I promise you, it won't feel like this, but when you go through all the videos a second time, you're going to find that those answers were always there. You're going to listen to videos and swear that that video was edited and something was added to it after the fact. And I had that happen all the time from every user group that came into my mentorship. They always said the same thing. How the hell did I miss that? It's been there. They downloaded the video. It's been in their computer. I couldn't go in there and change it. But they'll swear up and down that they didn't hear that the first time they listened to it, because they're doing too many videos at one time. So you have to be, number one, you have to be patient. It's intended for you to take a full year doing it. And if you rush it, I promise you, you're going to be the same person like these other yahoos out there that say, oh, it doesn't work. Focus on my retail logic instead of all that complication. It's not complicated, folks. Once you understand the language, it's not complicated at all. But the language, like any other language, well, how many of you know how to speak Mandarin? I don't. And that's difficult. Can you read and write in Japanese? Can you write in kanji? Can you read kanji? I can some. But can I go out there and just pick up any old book and start reading it in Japanese? No. It would take effort on my part to do that, just like anyone else. Just like reading sheet music. You want to be a musician? Okay, a musician requires you to do what? Understand the notes that make up these chords and make these songs sound the way they're supposed to sound. How to write the music. Well, this is no different than that. It's going to take effort, and it isn't going to be easy for most of you. But listen, folks, I've been out here this entire year of 2022 doing exactly what I said I was going to do last year. When people were crowing and saying I'm a scammer, a fraud, and I'm this and I'm that, I had a hit list of things I was going to do for all of you just to prove checking off each box. Can't call a daily high and low. I've done that multiple times. Can't call a weekly high and low before the fact and make it public. I've done that several times. Not even in just Forex. I've done it in other markets. There's a lot of people out there trying to sell you something. I'm not going to sit here and twist your arm and tell you, please listen to me. Please watch my videos, please. I need the attention. I need the attention from you. I need you to love me. Because if it's really going to come down to the brass tacks of all this, I don't give a shit if any of you believe me. I don't care if you believe me. Because I already know that there's an army of people all around this world, in different countries, everywhere, that are now convinced, and they're in a fucker walking this planet right now, that would ever convince them that what they've learned from me isn't the market itself. Their results tell them. They don't need me to make another video ever again. They don't give a shit if I ever teach again, because now they know that they know. That's empowerment, folks. That's what I want for all of you. I don't want you waiting on bated breath for me to do something new. I'm pouring myself out. That way, nobody can take what I've worked very hard for, suffered through, and ultimately have been blessed with. This way, no one can take it and repackage it and sell it and get by with everybody thinking, wow, this person's a trailblazer. This person's really done something unique and different, when the only thing they've done is parrot what I've said and hide the fact that they learned it from me. Now, for some of you pricks and assholes, okay, out there that do those types of things, one guy wrote a book and put it on Amazon, and I was in there. I'm the most liked comment on the reviews. I bought the bullshit that he wrote, and it's all garbage. It's all my concepts, just renamed, and no credit was given. And everybody that was mentioned in that book, because they were mentioned as my mentors, those individuals, they were given credit, but never really specifically saying this is where this came from. And I said, this is all basically my YouTube stuff, repackaged. And pretty much everybody that buys the book now sees, they go to my YouTube channel, and there it is. There's a couple other people that have done books like that on Amazon, and it's just really my concepts, just, again, hiding the fact that they got it from me. I will be in your reviews, and people will know you that you're a shitbag, okay? And you're not going to carve out the image that you want for yourself. I will make sure of it. I have plenty of free time, lots of fucking money, and I will make sure that you don't have the credit and clout that you're trying to get off of my name. So, where does that leave you? You're welcome to say I trained you. You're welcome to say that you learned it from me, and that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. That's what respect is. Can you run your own service and give out signals and your own analysis and have no beef with me? Absolutely. I encourage every one of my students to do that. All of them. I tell them all the time, you're welcome to say that you were trained by me, but you better fucking have the results because I'm showing what these results should look like. If you're not precise, you didn't learn from me. If you're not consistent, you didn't learn from me. If you're trading without stop loss, you didn't learn from me. If you don't know why you're getting in a trade and where it's going, you did not learn from me. They're characteristics of an ICT student, an apt pupil of Smart Money Concepts, otherwise known as me. Just me. Now, once we begin next week, the direction of the YouTube channel and the Twitter is going to change gears a little bit because we're going into the fall. My focus is to build up my son, and my attention and energy is going to be there. By default, you're going to have a lot of questions, a lot of interest because of the new videos that come up daily on the YouTube channel. I'm going to prompt you on Twitter with certain things that you may find not as interesting, but they're going to be noteworthy as the mentor. You're going to recall these things as you go deeper into the content. Those types of things, if you're one of my private membership group students that rushed through, you're actually having the opportunity to do this correctly the right way. So instead of bitching about how I'm giving away mentorship for free, no, I'm giving away free chapters of an entire work that you have access to. These are just the chapters I'm giving away for free, because this is going to answer all the questions about where did all the smart money concepts really come from? Me. It didn't come from Wyckoff. It didn't come from Chris Laurie. It didn't come from Larry Williams. It didn't come from George Angel. It didn't come from Linda Raschke. They're mine. Now, there are things that I will cover and mention, and if there is an influence by anyone out there, I'll tell you that it had an influence on me in this time of my development, generally about the very year I did it, so that way they receive the proper credit. And that way you'll have the full panoramic view of how core content was delivered, and you go through it properly. If you're struggling and you got the shit on the sly, or you bought it from somebody, okay, you found out that wasn't it, was it? Some of you are all itching right now. You can't wait for these videos to start dropping because you think it's going to be, you watch a video, you go out there tomorrow and start making money. I'm telling you right now, it isn't going to be like that. There's going to be so much information. It's going to shut you down mentally. It's designed to teach you every facet of market analysis, top down, bottom up. And it allows you to go in and use your own individual personality to say, okay, how can I take what I've been given? Because I teach timing techniques, I teach selection techniques, I teach seasonal influences, I teach every aspect of trading modularly. That way, you as the trader that's in development can bring your individual personality to it. That's required. not just from me, but every facet of trading, profitably, consistently. You have to have your own individual personality as part of that model. If it doesn't have that, you're fucking doomed. If you have any short-term profitability, it's exactly that, short-term. Wait around long enough, keep trading it, you will lose money because your personality is uniquely who you are. And if you think for a minute that you're just going to go out there and buy somebody's system, buy somebody's concepts, follow somebody blindly, and that's going to be longevity and consistently profitable for you, you're fucking nuts. It doesn't work that way, folks. It does not work that way, because here's what's going to happen. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to have an argument with your spouse or your significant other. You're going to get a case of the ass. You're going to be mad. Something's going to go wrong. And that is going to cause you to be doing what? You're going to be bringing toxicity into your trading. It doesn't matter who promises that you follow them, they'll make money, you'll make money, everybody makes money. That's bullshit. Folks, that's bullshit. And if you haven't been around long enough, trust me, you're going to find that that is absolute grade A bullshit. Nobody else is going to go out here and do what I've done. I've given away my life's work. I've poured it out into other people. I don't even know who you are. I've never shook your hand. I've never stared you eye to eye. I don't know any of you. If anybody else had what I have, they would have never taught it. They never would have given it away. They never would have sold it. They never would have given access to it. They never would have done that. Think about it. Be honest right now. Would you have fucking done it? No, you wouldn't have. You never would have done it. Especially all these 20-year-olds that are pretending they learned this on their own. Their career is about to have a major tailspin, because people are going to realize they're fake and they're a fraud. And their stolen clout is going to bring them more grief than all the honor they thought they were going to receive, because they're some young prodigy. No. So this is one of those discussions we have where it doesn't make you feel good. It wasn't meant to make you feel good. It's to make you understand that what you're about to embark on is either going to help you or it's going to derail you. Derailing those individuals that already found their model with the YouTube channel 2022 Mentorship. I'm going to repeat it again because you probably didn't pay attention when I first said it. If you already are making money and you're consistently able to find setups, do not embark on what I'm going to start releasing next week. I promise you, you will fuck up everything you got going on right now. Period. I have stripped down everything that you're going to see on all these core content lessons. I stripped it down that way you can see how a model is designed. My students have 12 other ones. And I have people in there that say, I can't make any of these work. Okay. And to answer those individuals, I made this public so that way I could show them and everybody else in the mentorship and everybody else around the world that doubted me and said I was a fraud, a scammer, I don't know how to trade, I can't teach anybody how to trade, none of my students make money. I think there's a gentleman, if I'm not mistaken, I think he mentioned, I may have misread it, but if my memory serves me correctly and if I'm reading the information correctly, I believe there's a gentleman from Ethiopia who has moved to Canada, and I'm probably taking a great deal of liberty saying this because I don't know for certain, but my understanding is he just recently made it to the number 2 spot on the FTMO leaderboard and has withdrawn $55,000 plus for his efforts in his trading account. Now, you see a lot of these guys out there on YouTube, they're advertising saying, hey, look, we're teaching how the banks trade and we're getting all these people funded and stuff. What you have done is parroted my concepts and my content and claimed ownership that you created this. If you have my words and you repeat them You're not teaching shit. You're parroting. So I gave all those individuals the insight that allowed them to get funded because they're trading with my concepts, my content, smart money concepts, ICT, me. But this gentleman, somehow, from some strange twist of events, managed to get all the way up to the number 2 spot on FTMO. And I don't think they do a leaderboard for like the demo account, do they? You can correct me if I'm wrong there on Twitter. But a $55,000 withdrawal, I think that's pretty respectable, no matter where you're from. And I'm sure he could probably remember back when he was younger and the things he had to endure. But $55,000 is something significant. That's a life-changing event, isn't it? Imagine if you had $55,000 right now. Here's the amazing thing. I don't even know this person. And I sure as hell didn't give them trades. I didn't tell them what to buy and sell. So if this is not a transferable skill set, so pray to tell, how does this person find himself in a position where $55,000 is now awarded to him? I mentioned on Twitter, I said I would love to sit down and talk to you. I'd like to know what it was like for him to go through it, to learn the hardships he had to endure. All these questions that I know that you have them in your development as well. But folks, listen, a lot of my students don't want the attention. This person came out and posted, showed proof that they're on the leaderboard, proof that their account's what it is, proof that they've been paid out. And there's still people out there saying fake, fake, fake. Listen, I see this more than you realize, but they don't want that attention because, first of all, they don't care. You think this person that made $55,000 with their own trading, using what I've taught, you think they give a fuck what you think? Do you really think they give a shit? They don't care who fucking thinks they did it or didn't do it. They're going to be spending that money on the things that they want and need and not giving two shits what you or anybody else thinks about it. That's the attitude. That's how it's supposed to be. Everything that social media has touched has turned to shit. I left Twitter because they started censoring me. That's why I left. Nobody pushed me to fuck off of Twitter. People see how they treat me and my students because they're, well, they're intimidated by them. They're intimidated because for a long time I've worn the crown of demo baller. And so many things have been lied and said about me. And then later on, quietly redacted. Quietly. So that way it's in there in case they get sued. Well, really said it didn't. He didn't really do those things. We're just calling it satire now. So it hopefully catches the eye of cancel culture. But I'm going to ask you a question. Who do you think people are going to give two shits more about? The guy that's literally laying the ATM machine in their hands and giving them the PIN code for free? Or the jackasses out there trying to derail anybody that wants to learn from them, namely me? And there's people out there really still trying to do that. That's insanity. That's how you know I'm living in their head rent-free. I've already defeated them because they're out there consciously every single day trying to do something to undermine what I'm doing for free. And there's results, folks. Widespread results. I guarantee you I'm probably most likely the most funded student mentor out there. Guaranteed. Because that YouTube channel, and at the start of this recording, I took a look at it real quick. I have 310,000 students on YouTube. And for that, folks, I am absolutely honored and I appreciate and thank you for that. Majority of the comments I see on the YouTube channel actually is by people that are actually not subscribed to my channel. So I know the reach is farther than that. And I've often wondered how many actually really do come back to the channel and see what's going on. Because I don't believe the numbers are accurate. Like 310 subscribers, but there's really not that many views on the videos. And there's jerks out there saying I'm buying subscribers. And why the fuck would I even worry about buying a subscriber? Like, really, what do I need that for? I'm not selling anything. Either the videos get watched or they don't get watched. Whatever. If I had just 50 people that were really passionate about learning, that's how I started. It was a small group. They didn't know who I was. And when I first stepped out on Baby Pips, it was a very small group that would be in the chat room every time I showed up. But eventually we would shut it down. The chat room wouldn't work anymore. It would glitch. So I know that this information is going to be met with a lot of questions. Okay. And you've recently watched me this year open up my comment section on all of my videos for the 2022 mentorship group. And I mentioned before, the reason why I keep the comment section closed is because it's basically sugar, love, and worship. And I don't like that. And it's been very difficult for me to hold on to the videos with the comment sections open this long. Not because I don't appreciate your affection and not because I don't appreciate your adoration towards me. I do. But some of you simply do it too much. And I don't consider myself the greatest of all time. I don't like being called the GOAT. I don't like being called a king. I don't like to be worshipped. Okay? And you might not think that's what it is, but that's exactly how it's perceived by other people and me. And I don't like that. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. So, going forward, starting next week, I won't have a video up on Monday. The first video I put up is on the 22nd of August. The videos going forward will not have the comment section open. Now, some of you are like, oh, well, we need it open because I want to ask questions. I'm not going to answer your questions. I already mentioned earlier in this video that every question you have, write it down in your journal for that individual video. If you do that, when you come to a new video, something's going to be in that video. There's, oh, yeah. Let me go back and look at that group of questions I had from the previous month's content. And were there any questions that were answered there? And then you were going to write down the answers to that question you had. And because you wrote it in a question format, and because you wrote the answer that you discovered in another video later on, that later on discovery that answers that question will now be rooted in an event that is more meaningful to you. So it will be less likely for you to what? Forget it. That's note-taking done properly. And that's the byproduct of going through the process of going through the mentorship videos one by one, not skipping around, not picking what video sounds titled better than the other one. If you're not going to engage with every single video from beginning to end in the order that I'm going to put them out, don't do this, folks, because the results will be affected by that. But you don't need comment sections open, because I'm not going to entertain your questions, because that's what private mentorship community gets from me. I'm not making them videos anymore. We're a community. They have questions. I go through the questions, not to the speed that they all want because it's a very large group, but that's what they're going through right now. There is no secret video collection. I stopped making videos for them because I have people in there that are selling those videos. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm taking that market away from them because they fucking offended me. They've abused their invitation into my home. Thieves. So now I'm going to take your meal from you. I'm going to take your scam away from you. And I'm going to place it in the hands of those individuals that you would have demanded them to pay you in Bitcoin or through Cash App. Nonsense. These are my things. These videos I'm making public because they have been abused. They've been spread all over the world. They've been pirated, copied, rebranded. And you're going to see all of these smart money concepts, all these guys out there that claim to know how to trade like a bank. The only thing they have ever done was taken bits and pieces, if not the entirety, of my mentorship core content videos. And this is the reason why people complain. They say, make your videos shorter because it takes too much fucking time for them to copy something that was done longer. That's why I do these long things when I'm teaching. Number one, I need the bandwidth for it because it's not a simple project. It's something that's vast. But these yahoos, they just want something real simple and easy. They can copy it. Put it out there real quick. No. Your videos are too long. Fuck you. Go watch somebody else. Go watch somebody else pretend and lie to you. You want someone that's going to teach you? You have them here talking to you right now. I love teaching folks, and I can fucking do this every single day of the week. But my tolerance is gone for people that have abused my life's work. I gave so many instances where if they just would have stopped, this event wouldn't be taking place. But it got rampant. And the last group that came in, they already bought these videos from other people. But they knew buying those videos didn't quite do it. So don't be lulled into thinking that going through these core content videos is going to transform you into super hedge fund trader. No. So don't buy them from anybody. Don't go on Instagram and find somebody, hey, mentorship videos for this, that, and the other thing. And don't believe anybody that's saying, oh, ICT is really making mentorship videos, because I'm not making videos anymore for that private group. We are a community and we talk in the forum. That's it. And they're just boring questions that people have asked. And all of my profitable students that have found what they're looking for, they don't even go in the forum anymore. That's my hope, that everybody in the community gets to the point where, you know what? I appreciate everything, but we don't need to come back into the forum anymore, because all I'm doing is reading other people and their confusion, and I don't need that. I know what I'm doing and where I'm going and how I'm going to trade. It's been amazing. Thank you. See you later. That's it. That's graduation. That's what it's intended to do. You want to be plugged into me all the time, relying on me to talk about where the market's going to go? You shouldn't want that. And I don't want you to have that as my students. I don't want you relying on me, needing some kind of service from me, some kind of gimmick, some kind of a system, some resource. You don't need shit from me. Once you learned how to trade, all right, see you later. Thanks, ICT. I'm gone. I'm not going to be offended by that. That's exactly what my intended purpose of teaching you was going to be all about. That's the approach. Teach you how to fly, not get the fuck out the nest. That's how it's supposed to be. Because I'm not going to be with you forever. I'm not going to be here forever. So learn how to do this independently. That's how a real independent thinking trader grooms themselves. They prepare for that day where their educator, their mentor, their teacher lets go of the bike seat. And that's scary. And I have students right now tearfully sending me emails, text messages through TradingView, on the forum, tearfully saying, I don't want this to end. But it will. So make ready for that day. That should be an exciting time for you. I'm excited for all of you to have that moment. That's independence. That's power. That is a feeling not of invincibility, not supernatural or anything like that, but certainly empowering. And it'll really allow you to look back of all the times that you had to endure, and all the times you question whether or not you're going to ever be able to do this. Am I ever going to make money doing this? Am I ever going to be able to do this and make money? And you discover the things that you were doing was making it harder on yourself. It wasn't me or the concepts. It was you. You're trying to do more than is necessary. And how do you know? Look at what I've taught on the mentorship 2022. Is that a lot of stuff? No. And so you're like, oh, you're taking trades, Michael, that are outside the scope of that model. Here's a reminder for you. I know how to trade beyond that model. And that's not egotistical. That's not bragging. I'm just reminding you, I'm not locked into just that model. That was given to you as a gift. Here, stop buying bullshit from people. Stop believing these people. There's a guy out there that has taken my concepts, doesn't credit me. Raphael. I don't know his last name, but this joker, this guy makes $500,000 every other week, according to his YouTube videos. If you add up all the amount of money this guy supposedly made, you would think he'd have better cars than he has and lives in a better house. And literally, there's no way this guy's making the kind of money he's making. And honestly, that's the type of shit that I'm doing this very thing for. Because these goobers sell my voice. They sell my echo. They sell my concepts. Some of them don't even change the name at all. And these people believe that this, they don't make that kind of money, folks. They don't. Period. And the level of nonsense that is believed on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. See, I've ruffled a lot of feathers on Twitter. I told everybody last year I was going to come back. Oh, yeah, they're going to run him off. Hey, Tom, where the fuck are you at? Where's that? Oh, in 1 week, I'm going to get ran off of Twitter. Oh, yeah? I don't think so. I'm here for all the smoke. So obviously you learn a skill set if you go through the 2022 mentorship on YouTube. You will not learn a model by going through the core content mentorship videos. You won't learn that. And if we were all in an auditorium, if we could put everybody in one place and I had the room divided into, here's the paid group members and here's everybody outside of that. And if I was to say, okay, everybody in the paid group, raise your hand if I went into a model and outlined it as simple as I did on the YouTube channel. In any of the paid group lessons and lectures, did I make it that simple, that short, and cut to the point, just simply as easy as it is on the YouTube channel? They would all say no. They would say no. And the question you're probably asking as someone outside of that community is why the fuck would anybody want to go in there? Well, when I marketed it, I said it is for freaks, for people that just simply want to know everything I'm willing to teach. Period. Now, I taught the approach on how to build the model. All they had to do is pick the fair value gap out of all the PD arrays. Pick the time frame that they're going to use to trade. Are they going to be a day trader or a scalper? These are all things that they were being coached and taught. They have to figure that out. They have to make that decision of whether or not they can, if they can trade intraday. A lot of people can't do it. But that's okay. They can take the logic they've learned from that YouTube model and apply it to what they have learned about swing trading and short-term trading or position trading, because it's all scalable. That model is only limited to scalping to the neophyte, the uninitiated person that simply doesn't know what they're looking at. They think that's a one-trick pony. It is not. You can take that and scale that to any time frame trading, and it will beat the fucking brakes off of anybody else's shit. Period. Bring your shit, test yourself. Folks, listen. You want to learn how to trade? I've already done that for free. It's out there on YouTube right now. You want to cut through all the bullshit, all the boring lessons, all of the jawboning, the rants. This guy loves to hear himself talk. I did all that for you, motherfucker, that want to run your mouth and say I make too long of videos. I did that just for you. That's how special of a mentor I am. I even look out for the dickheads. Straight to the point. And it makes money. Oh man, does it make money. And it works a lot. It's in the charts every day. But if you don't plant your ass in front of the charts with the expectation and knowing where the market's going to go, it's going to feel like it doesn't work. And I have a handful of people from each group that came into my private mentorship group sending me very salty emails. This isn't working. This is a scam. No, you're fucking lazy. You haven't done the work and you don't listen. I literally had people going against the commentary where I'm telling you where the market's going to go, and they would send me emails. Yeah, I'm going short euro when I'm telling it's going to go up. I'm short in euro and none of this shit works. How frustrating. Can you imagine putting up with that? With tens of thousands of people coming in all the time in your email box. And you got these outliers that come out and say, I'm doing everything opposite to what you're saying, and it isn't working. How the hell, how do you fix that? You're the mentor, you're the teacher. How do you fix that? Do what I just did. Put it out there in the public and let the public prove to them and everyone else that's ever questioned, this shit works. Yeah, hello. I didn't just learn how to do this last year, folks. I've been doing this since I was in the 90s. Yeah, long time doing it. And a lot of people, you'd be surprised, have been under my tutelage. And because of privacy, I can't divulge that. Now, if they come out and say, yeah, I trained with ICT, then the cat's out of the bag. But you'd be surprised. You would be surprised how many that you would know in this industry that have gone through my fold. But I'm not a name dropper. And some of them came in with the curiosity of saying, okay, this guy's full of shit. Let's see it. And they've gone through it and they're like, this is incredible. And you get to have a little taste of something like that starting next Tuesday. Again, as a reminder in closing, if you've already found your model with the YouTube channel, 2022 Mentorship, do not go into these videos because it's going to cause you to derail. You've already got a model that works. Use that. Don't do anything else. I don't need you to watch my videos. I don't need you to go in there and derail yourself and mess up the progress that you've made for yourself. If you found it working right now, don't tinker with it. Just stick to that. And I mean that sincerely. But for those that are on the fence, you're wondering how you can buy the ICT mentorship videos. Oh, I got to get a hold of those videos. Don't buy them. I'm going to put them right on the YouTube channel. And this is going to be for my private group. They're going to see, just like they saw for themselves, these videos alone won't do shit. It won't do shit. That's not mentoring. That's me introducing the language. They went through mentorship daily, weekly. This is where the market's going to go. This is why it shouldn't do this, and this is why it's going to do that. That video that you're getting in core content is just me introducing concepts, demonstrating the concept modularly. That is me telling you this is what you're going to learn how to use. Not necessarily going in, this is exactly what you do with it. They're small little pieces of the whole, one little cog in the machine. And that's what people around the world are selling. And they're promising everybody, oh, if you do this, you're going to learn this and this, this. No, you have to be trained. You have to be trained by me. You got to spend time with me. And there is no more mentorships. I'm not doing another mentorship. So these fucking clowns that are out there trying to say, oh, I'm setting you up for another mentorship. Man, I'm fucking loaded. I don't need to do that shit. Things are about to get really hard for you. And I'm doing everything I can to have a clear conscience. I've done everything in my power to make this accessible to you. I've literally given you a model that works. It's easy to trade, period. It's already on the YouTube channel. So stop expecting something easier than that, because there isn't anything easier than that, period. And it would beat everything else out there. I don't care who the fuck it is. I don't give a shit who they trained with, what they do, what bank they work for, all that. Pull all that shit together, find them, and let them go up against that. Talking is bullshit. Find somebody else out there that has done this and has impacted people all around the world and just did it for nothing because I care. That's why I care. And a lot of you, if you're not getting yourself prepared, you're going to be homeless. You're going to be unable to feed your family or yourself. And the normal everyday job, that's going to be almost impossible. I know it sounds like science fiction, but listen, folks, there's a reason why I came out on baby pips in 2010. You're now discovering it now. Look around. That's what I was growing encouraged to come out and try to help as many as I could. Think about it. How else do I know these things before they happen? Think. You know the answer. Some of you just don't want to admit it. Until next time, be safe.